him to do his stream so I could see him, but I haven't seen him so far. So shout out to Tommy. Whenever you do your stream, notify me. I'm going out to work though right now. But when I come back, I hope that you are able to stream or I'll watch your stream, whatever, man. But I'm looking forward to seeing you, man, on here. All right, legend. What's the topic? Let's get into it. I got like 5 minutes. Legend is the stuff that you really want as a fighter. You want to be a legendary fighter. You want to be a fighter that's remembered forever. You want to be a fighter whose name, when they say that's a legendary fighter. And Canelo is going to be one of those fighters, no matter what anybody says. Listen, this man has faced 15 former present or future world champions. He has beaten 14 of them. He has faced 2 Hall of Famers, beaten by one, beat another, and 3 future Hall of Famers. This man's a legend. Now, even though I'm not going to be watching Canelo versus Avni Yieldrum, I expect it to be a good, entertaining fight. Yieldrum always brings a style that's entertaining. He's being trained by Joel Diaz, who's an excellent trainer, and I'm sure going to give him good tips on boxing, try to clean up his defense and stuff. Nonetheless, I think Canelo's going to beat him. Possibly stop, but he's going to beat him. My thing is that legendary fighters like Canelo, pound for pound number 1 in the world, they get a lot of unfair criticism. It is what it is. When you're king of the mountain, other people are trying to topple you off the mountain. So they can't top you off the mountain in fighting. They're going to try and top you off the mountain in talking. It's understandable. Of course, Canelo versus Charlo. Canelo versus David Benavidez. Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo versus Demetrius Andrade. Canelo versus Caleb Plant are the best possible fights for Canelo out there. And these are the fights we want to see from Canelo. Not to mention Canelo versus Beterbiev, Canelo versus Bivol. Those are great fights. Those are the best of the best. But what we're getting tomorrow is Canelo versus Avni Yieldrum. Yieldrum is not a bad fighter. Okay? He's not a bad fighter at all. And he is the mandatory for Canelo. He's not the number 1 contender, but it's only because of recent time David Benavidez became the contender because he lost his belt on the scales, which Canelo now has. But he was the number 1 contender, Avni Yieldrum, in that division for the WBC. This is just what it was. And he was in line to get his title shot. Now, of course, we all know Canelo is a franchise champion, which means he doesn't have to engage with mandatories. But Canelo wanted Avni Yieldrum. This is a fight that's happening 2 months after Canelo had just faced Caleb Plant. I'm sorry, Callum Smith. Sorry about that. So this is a really quick turnaround, which Canelo said he was going to fight more often. And I think he said he wanted to fight 3 times this year, possibly 4. So it's not surprising that this is a stay busy fight. Now, I'm not interested in it. Some people are, but it's a stay busy fight anyway, in which Canelo takes on Avni Yieldrum. Can anything happen in boxing? Anything can happen in boxing. Anything can happen in boxing. Avni Yieldrum could somehow, out of the shot of the blue, win the fight between himself and Canelo. We may be underestimating Avni Yieldrum. But be that as it may, the fact will remain that the very likely result is Canelo beats Avni Yieldrum. And he's a stay busy fight. Now, when I say stay busy fight, there's a lot of things I want to say. I did this already in the social media group, Facebook, one of the Facebook boxing channels, which I got kicked out of a channel. I don't even know why I was kicked out of the channel, because I wasn't abusive or anything. It was just spouting truth. And I got kicked off a channel of one of the Facebook groups. But I seem to be kicked out of groups for no reason at all. Nonetheless, continue on. Canelo in that group, I was speaking about the fact that you know one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time, if not the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, as they allege, Julio Cesar Chavez faced much less opposition than Canelo. I mean, he faced guys who had under 10 fights while he was a super lightweight champion. Okay, he's on sanctioned bouts. So Canelo is not, by any stretch of the imagination, facing an opponent who is not a good opponent. I mean, Yieldrum's a good opponent. He hasn't won a fight in since 2018, but that doesn't mean he's not a good opponent. Some people dispute whether he should have beaten Anthony Durrell. Some people dispute whether he lost some of the fights. Now, he had been stopped by Chris Eubank Jr., yes. But after that, he had some pretty good performances. He just didn't get the nod. So, what do we make of this? I remember when people were talking about Badou Jack after he got knocked out by um, the fighter that knocked him out. And it was just interesting that all of a sudden Badou Jack was trash. He was a bum. But we shouldn't be calling anyone bums unless we get into the square circle and fight. And these guys are nowhere near bums. None of it. Having Yieldrum or none. You can't get to the top of a division and become the number one contender or the number two contender, that is, by being a bum. That's not possible. So while I do agree that Avni Yieldrum is nowhere on Canelo's level, and guys like David Benavidez and Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo would give him a much tougher fight, I do have to agree. Canelo is not necessarily facing a bum. It is a stay busy fight, in my opinion, and the stakes for stay busy fights are exceedingly high. But he's not facing a bum. Okay. So having said that, I think that Canelo's on the trajectory to being a legendary fighter. He's already outdone most Mexican fighters in terms of champions he has beaten, in terms of divisions he's won. He's an authentic four-divisional world champion. Okay, beat Callum Smith. People say Callum Smith is nothing. Oh, Callum Smith something. Callum Smith something. And Callum Smith will prove that later on in his career. It's just that he faced a fighter that had a lot more experience, a lot more craftiness, a lot more skill than he thought. Okay, and a lot of people underestimate Canelo. So this is what I got for you guys. Now I heard some people saying, "Well, Canelo should have that third Triple G fight. He will knock out Triple G if they have a third fight." I'm not looking forward to that either. That doesn't tantalize me. Right now, what tantalizes me is Canelo versus Andre, Canelo versus Charlo, Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Caleb Plant, and Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Those are the guys in front of him I think he should take care of. If he can take care of all of them, that'll be superb. If he can't take care of some of them, that'll be great. If some of them take care of each other, and so he faces the winner, that's great too, right? There's also at 175 Bivol and Beterbiev, who are the guys in that division at the present point in time. I don't think we have a WBO champion, but I think Smith Jr. is supposed to face his opponent, and I think that would be whoever the winner is would become the WBO champion. I think something like that. Anyways, people, this is what you need. I just want to talk about one more thing. That's legendary Triller, which is sort of pushed by Mike Tyson. I see Triller getting into the mix, and they have won the bid for Teofimo Lopez versus Carambosis. That's fantastic because Mike Tyson will try to make the fights that the fans really want to see. So if somehow, some way, Triller can buy out Teofimo Lopez's contract, we can get Triller to get Teofimo Lopez those fights he really wants to get instead of Top Rank blocking him and hedging him and keeping him back from getting, and he would still get paid. So I hope Mike Tyson's Triller, working along with Triller, get that to happen because that would be the greatest thing ever, and they could change the game. So we'll see what happens with that. In some other continuing events, which I also want to talk about, I'm really happy and elated to see, the boxing community coming around and supporting women's boxing. And so Clarissa Shields, she's not affiliated with Showtime or with any other boxing body. She's going to do her own thing via pay-per-view, and people are rallying behind her and supporting her. Again, beautiful stuff. Showing that you don't have to be dependent on some big sports network. Sometimes you can do it yourself. And so Commercial Shields is a pioneer in that, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far that goes. So that's what I got for now. Devin Haney, of course, being his own boss, and Ryan Garcia and Tank. And the lightweight division is what we got. We also got Lomachenko up in there. And we got a heated up 130 division that's happening. Now we got guys like um, Oscar Valdez and Javante Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson. We got Tevin Farmer. We've got Jojo Diaz, and I'm trying to remember the kid's name. I just can't remember for nothing. I can't remember the kid's name for the. I think he's the WBO champion. Great division. I think the guy who's the WBO champion is going to be facing Carl Frampton. So we're looking forward to that. But it's just great all around. Anyway, I've covered more than 5 minutes here on this topic. You guys can check this video out. You guys have a great day. I got to go to work. I'll catch you guys later. Don't forget you can subscribe, share, comment, and donate via Western Union MoneyGram. This is what you need. Out of the building. Peace.